I am honored to be joined by Jaime Michell, who is the founder and president of Gays Against Groomers, a bona fide SPLC certified anti-LGBT group.
Yes, exactly. That's about the gist of it. Yeah, we're according to many groups now, the ADL, SPLC, Wikipedia, even our Wikipedia, it classifies us as an anti-LGBT hate group, which is the most ironic and hilarious thing ever because everybody in our organization is gay, and we even have a few trans people. You know, everybody is one of the letters in. Sorry about that.
It's still, yeah.
Okay. Everybody is part of the community in our organization, right? So it's very silly how they use that to try and stop us. But I think people understand that's probably not true.
Yeah, so can you differentiate and show, like, I think most of our audience probably knows, but why Gays Against Groomers and why is it important to be engaged in this conversation?
Right, well, you know, I and everybody in Gays Against Groomers, along like you and everyone else, has seen the onslaught of videos and propaganda and media just coming out targeting children from the LGBTQIA plus community. And it was very important to me to be able to speak out against it and say, you know, because every single gay person I know, and even trans people, we've all been staunchly against this, right? So, but if you just look online or on TV, you know, the mainstream narrative coming from our community is that we all support this. And so it was very important to me to create a group to fight back against it from inside the community, to differentiate, draw a big red line between, you know, us and them, show that not all gay people, not all trans people want to hurt children. We just want to live our lives like everybody else, but also because I felt like we could be most effective at stopping it. That was really the most important part to me. You know, protecting, just ending this agenda targeting children, because the second straight people, God bless them all, for speaking out, you know, they're instantly written off as homophobic and transphobic, and obviously that's not true. But you know, they have a harder time doing that to us, even though, as you noted, like the SPLC, ADL, all these outlets and organizations have labeled us anti ourselves just for speaking out, wanting to protect children. But, you know, that's kind of the state of things. But, you know, we have had great success, and our voices are very effective because, I mean, they can't, what are they going to do? You know, they have a harder time, these labels have a harder time sticking to us than they do anybody else. And so, yeah, it was very important to just start a counter movement to what we see happening because it's completely unacceptable. And, you know, being pro-child protection and pro-child safety is not anti-anything, and that's our main message.
So where does the visceral, you know, I think protecting children, especially from some of the trans ideology when they're young, when they don't know what they're doing, you know, like on a visceral level, where does it hit you?
I mean, the whole thing is just absolutely abhorrent. Like, I genuinely, every day that we're in this battle, I can't believe this is real life. You know, like not even 10 years ago, gay marriage was federally legalized. And now, in such a short amount of time, it feels like all the actual progress we made and our gay and lesbian elders made is being wiped away by these people. And, you know, so Gays Against Groomers, we fight the sexualization, indoctrination, and medicalization of children happening under the guise of LGBTQIA plus. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Nobody will ever say what the plus stands for. I think they're trying to incorporate the P for pedophilia. So I think that's next. But, you know, I would say that the most important part to me is the medically transitioning of children. You know, amputating the healthy body parts of young girls. I can't imagine having to be stuck with a decision I made as a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old. Like, it's absolutely insane. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, and, you know, I'm a grown adult, and I was then too, but it's just, you know, it's been common sense and common knowledge for all of human history that no child can make permanent lifelong decisions up until like 5 minutes ago. And it feels like the whole world has gone absolutely mad, but we're making really good progress. You know, since Gays Against Groomers is a little over 2 years old now, and in that time we've helped get gender affirming care for minors banned in, I want to say 22 or 23 states. Yeah, when we started 2 years ago, it was either restricted or banned in just 4. So we're making a lot of progress. There's a lot of work left to do, though, and we're reminded of that every day. I mean, you saw what just happened in California with, Newsom signing AB 1955, which basically, teachers will no longer be able to inform parents if their child starts identifying as trans in school. It's like, it's just so evil trying to create a wedge between the family and the child, or the parents and the child. We are staunch advocates for parental rights, and the parents need to know what's going on in their kids' lives. The teachers aren't going to be there for them for their whole lives. They shouldn't feel like parents shouldn't feel left out of this conversation, and they should not be pushed away from what's happening to their kids. So it's really sad what's going on. We're making a lot of progress, though, but there's a lot left to do.
So I've heard lesbian feminists whom I really admire, like Miriam Ben Shalom, compare transgender ideology for kids, and especially the medicalization, to conversion therapy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, would you unpack that a little?
Yeah, I fully agree with that, and we touch on that a lot. The thing is that the majority of these gender non-conforming kids, more masculine girls or more feminine boys,
Right.
They're overwhelmingly going to grow up to be just gay adults, right? Like it's actually horrifying for me I know for a fact that if I would have grown up today, I would have thought I was a boy. I've been a tomboy my whole life, I have always hated feminine, hyper feminine things, like to this day, and way back when I was a kid, and so I would have absolutely been preyed upon by this cultish agenda. If my parents bought into it, the scary part really is that, like so many parents, they are lied to and made to believe that, you have to transition your child, otherwise they will unalive themselves, basically, right? So if my parents bought into that, they would have medically transitioned me without a doubt. And, I've never wanted to be a boy or a man a day in my life. I'm just a tomboy, so like one of our main campaigns, is, and a hashtag we use all the time, is Save the Tomboys, and save the feminine boys too. It's like, the craziest thing about that is that, the gender ideology and the trans cult is bringing back these stereotypes, like these super binary, what it means to be a girl or a boy or a man or a woman.
1950s.
Right. It's like, they actually, in the UK, I believe it was at Mermaids. Mermaids is this like
Oh my gosh, don't
trans
get me
child
started.
organization. You're
Yeah.
familiar? So like, they had a graphic that came out that showed like a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being extremely girly or like a full girl, and 10 being a full boy. And at the 0 was a picture of a Barbie, and at the 10 was a picture of G.I. Joe. So it's like, it's so crazy. Like that's gay people especially have been kind of pushing back against that binary gender stereotype, right? Like that there isn't there isn't just one way to be a boy or a girl or a woman or a man.
Right.
It's and now it's like, if kids deviate from these stereotypical rigid ideas of what a boy or a girl is, they're instantly told they're trans, and sent down the conveyor belt of like permanent medicalization. So, but yeah, I 100% agree. It is a form of conversion therapy, except it's way worse. It's like 1,000 times worse because, regular old-fashioned conversion therapy just tried to change your mind, right? This conversion therapy leaves kids with missing body parts and sterilized. So,
Well, when
it's
I hear
much worse.
conversion therapy, I always think of electroshock therapy
Right.
and things that most people who do that kind
Sure.
of therapy today don't do.
Right.
But in any
back
case,
in the day, the guy who came up with the lobotomy, he won a Nobel Prize back then. It's like, but things change, right? And so, if I could just give a message to people watching and to parents especially, a lot of people are scared to speak out because they think that, they will be thought of as anti-LGBTQ, but you have to get rid of that notion. Just find your courage and speak out against it, because history will not be kind to those that stayed silent during this and let it continue. And as soon as more people speak up, the faster it will end. They can't do it if everybody speaks out against it. And people know it's wrong. I think even people that push this know it's wrong. So they're sick people. That's what we're dealing with. Yeah.
Well, so I wrote a book about the Southern Poverty Law Center. I don't know if you want to have it.
I actually would love. Actually, I saw that you made a video about Gays Against Groomers, and I think
Yes.
yeah, I saw that on your site actually.
But also, I wanted to ask you. We saw an assassination attempt against former President Trump earlier this week,
Right.
and I wanted to hear if you have faced, obviously not quite on that level,
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't
death
say,
threats, various threats, and would you draw any connection to the hate that's going around against you and your organization and what we saw on Saturday?
I definitely wouldn't compare it at all, but
Yeah.
but we do get death threats. I mean, our inbox is filled with death threats. I don't want to even remotely compare because I mean his life was spared by a millimeter and a millisecond, but it is insane the level of hate that gets thrown our way, or anybody that speaks out against the approved narrative and agenda. But it's really sad. I've been doxxed, which worries me. It's something that I think about just sitting at home. Is today going to be the day I gotta use the Second Amendment? I don't know. I don't live in fear though. I don't live in fear, but it's a worry. But you can't. They do that so you'll stop. So you're scared and you're quiet. And like President Trump, it's not going to stop him. It shouldn't stop anybody else that is confronted with threats like that, because then they win. They win. And we're not going to let them win because too much is on the line.
So you're here at the Republican National Convention.
I am.
What do you think of the GOP these days?
Honestly, speaking for myself, I've been on the right for a long time now, kind of probably over a decade. But Gays Against Groomers is a nonpartisan organization. But sadly, the only party speaking out against this stuff that we fight against is the Republican Party. The Democrats are the ones pushing it. So we are more aligned with the Republican Party. The GOP platform, I saw President Trump came out last year with a video saying that he was going to federally, nationally ban child sterilization and mutilation. Gender affirming care. I hate.
Yeah.
I always have to use
It's
my
such
air
a gaslighting
quotes.
term.
It really is. It reminds me of like BLM, right? Like the left and progressives are so manipulative and intentional with the language they use, because like who could come out against Black Lives Mattering, right? It's like, oh, you don't think Black Lives Matter? It's like who could come out against care for children that their lives depend on it. That's what they say, like they're going to kill themselves if they don't get this. And they're very tactful with their language, their choice of words. But no, I fully support the Republican Party trying to end it. It's unfortunate that this issue has been made political. It shouldn't be political. This isn't like a left versus right. This is right versus wrong. And it should be something that should unite both parties. Like the one thing people on the left or right should be able to agree about is protecting kids. But that's not the case. So, But we're happy to see the Republican Party taking steps. Every new piece of legislation that gets passed, it's passed by Republicans. So, in terms of banning the gender affirming care and child drag shows and all this stuff. So, yeah.
And what do you say to those who say that, child drag shows and these books that we've seen, these explicit books, are important to make LGBT people feel normalized?
Yeah, I'd say that we already feel normalized. We are so welcome in society. It's like we've overdosed on tolerance. You see every major corporation panders to us, bends the knee to us. Every politician on the left, we're good. We already feel included enough. So I would say that no, children don't need to learn how to become inclusive by reading pornographic material. No, they don't need to see a man dressed scantily, nearly nude, with fake breasts to learn about tolerance and acceptance. It's very simple. To teach a child about tolerance and acceptance and inclusion, all you have to do is say you treat everybody the same. no matter who they are, no matter what their family looks like. Just you treat everybody the same and how you want it to be treated. And then in terms of like teaching about gay people, just say, some families, not all families look the same. That's it. Like, it's really, that's it. But you treat them the same, They're no different than us. And it really could be that simple, But that's where I say, our community has been hijacked. Like, they're using us to push this pornographic filth in our name, right? And they do that so nobody can speak out against it without being labeled a hateful bigot. And so that's why Gays Against Groomers, we've been banned from 15 or 16 platforms now. I personally have been banned from PayPal and Venmo, as well as the organization. I can't use, they canceled our payment. They banned us from, accepting donations. So we found an alternative, but it just goes to show you, so they fear us because I really feel like our voices carry more weight in the conversation, speaking out from inside the community. So, we're not going to stop until the war is won. But it's funny. I'll just end on this.
Yeah.
I got interviewed a while ago, and I forget who, but he said, "Where do you see Gays Against Groomers in 5 years from now, 10 years from now?" And I was like, I pray to God we don't have to exist. I don't want, there's no like long-term plan here with Gays Against Groomers. We just want to get the job done and like go back. I never imagined that this is what I'd be doing with my life 10 years ago when gay marriage got legalized, And so now we're doing this, somebody's got to do it, so we're doing it. But the 10-year plan is to win the war and go home and go about our lives. So that's it.
Yeah. Well, what would you say, and I know we should wrap up.
No, it's okay.
But I'm a conservative Christian. I believe certain things that you certainly don't agree with.
For sure.
And I just want to hear from you. It's interesting disagreeing on important things, but also agreeing on what I think are more important, like concrete in the here and now things. Have you seen any of this hate from people on the social conservative right that we always hear so much about from the Southern Poverty Law Center?
Yeah, we get much more hate from people, from progressives, and I fully understand and accept and am fine that there are, very social conservatives and Christian conservatives that do not agree or think gay marriage is okay or, think being gay is okay. But we don't receive any hate vote. Like, I have yet to see that. I know people believe that and feel that way, and that's fine. I would never want to change that about somebody, All I say and ask is that we can put our differences aside and both fight for this common cause that we have, which is protecting children. And I hope that people that are against gay people or have a problem with gay people or gay marriage understand how impactful our voices are and want to work with us, at least in this regard. I'm not one of those people, and none of us at GAG are, that like demand you accept us and welcome us into your, whatever. But there is a common cause here that we all can unite on, and that's what's most important.
Yeah, well, and I think acceptance is on very different levels,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think
Yeah.
we're allies, we respect each other tremendously. It's just a difference of opinion on something. And
No, but I never see, the big, scary Christian conservatives, barking at us. And no, it's always coming from the other side. The people, the pro-child mutilation advocates and, the groomers and all of them, that's where the hate comes from for us, so.
yeah, except I would say Westboro Baptist, who
what?
I find really obnoxious and
Yeah. First of all,
wholeheartedly disagree with.
Are they even still around? Like, I have not seen them in so long, but I have said this many times, is that what the LGBTQIA plus Inc., like what the gay alphabet mob is doing, is hurting us more than even the Westboro Baptist Church could have ever hoped to, Like, they are doing more damage by going after children, and people are equating all gay people, all trans people, with child predators, right? And gay people fought for a very long time to rid themselves of that stigma, and now here we are, So, yeah, I truly believe that they're hurting us more than even the most extreme bigots could ever dream to.
Well, thank you so much, Jaime Michelle.
Thank you.
And keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And let us know if more people cancel you, and we
Yeah.
would love to write about it and
definitely.
push back.
I'm sure you'll hear from me soon because we get canceled like every other week from a new platform. But yeah, no, thank you so much for the support and for covering Gays Against Groomers before. And it's a pleasure to speak with you here.